Welcome to Retirement Rescue Radio, a show specifically designed to help retirees and pre-retirees maximize their financial efficiency so you can live the retirement lifestyle you've always imagined. Your host is Nate Miller, investment advisor representative and author of the CPR Retirement Rescue Roadmap. Nate discusses thoughts and ideas from some of today's most knowledgeable professionals in the field of finance. He offers strategies along the way to help you make better financial decisions so you can maximize your retirement. This is Retirement Rescue Radio.
Well, hey there, everybody. Nate Miller here, founder of Miller Retirement Group and host of Retirement Rescue Radio. We've got another episode here, and today we're going to be going over, I won't say everybody's favorite topic, but this seems to always be a big crowd pleaser. I guess we usually get a lot of views whenever we talk about the subject of Social Security. And so there was an article that came across my desk called The Cheat Sheet. It's 10 Social Security facts that every advisor and client should know. And so we're going to go through these 10, and I'm going to offer my commentary and probably a little expansion on each of these as well, because we do live events talking about Social Security as well. And it's a decision that pretty much all of us have to make. And so regardless of whether we have $0 in assets or a one with lots of zeros behind it, or whatever number with lots of zeros behind it, then we still have to make this decision on when do we claim Social Security. And Social Security, how you claim Social Security can affect your taxes. How you claim Social Security can affect your assets and whether or not those assets last your entire life. They can affect your spouses if you're part of a couple and how long those assets last. All right. So they can affect your spouse's income. So there's a lot of issues or a lot of nuances regarding Social Security. So it also happens to be a very large percentage of most retirees' income. And there's a certain percentage where it's the only income that some retirees have. And so we want to make sure that we get that question answered, or all of those questions that a lot of people have answered. And now what this is saying is you don't need to be a Social Security expert, but you do want to be able to at least know some of the main features or the main components of Social Security to help you make an informed decision. And I would also say, always talk to a financial advisor that has made Social Security planning part of their practice. And that's a very important key because not all of them have. If you're basically talking to an advisor who mainly focuses on working with clients that are in their working years and not their retirement years, well, they probably really haven't studied a lot of the nuances with Social Security. One, because they really don't make any money from it. And if a lot of their clients don't normally have to worry about that decision, how much time do you think they're going to put into figuring that out? Probably not a whole lot. And so you want to work with someone whose clients are going to have to be making that decision on a regular basis so that they are informed on how to do that. So for now, the 10 areas that are mostly going to be discussed with clients and advisors are going to be, number one, what is called the full retirement age, or sometimes you'll see that written as FRA, or sometimes even as the primary insurance amount, or PIA. Sorry about all the acronyms, guys, but that's kind of how they do it. That's what they use to describe Social Security in many different ways. So FRA, PIA, full retirement age, primary insurance amount. So that's kind of how it works there, guys. So basically, normal retirement age is going to be either 66 or 67, somewhere in between there. So if you're born after 1944, basically, if you're born, anyone born in 1943 or later, 66 is the full retirement age, depending on your date of birth. And for those that are born in 1960 and later, it's 67. But if you're born in between, so let's say you're born like I believe it's 1954, then it's going to be, it starts out at 66 and certain months. So if you were born in 55, then it's actually 66 and 2 months. If you're born in 1959, it's 66 and 10 months. And then once you hit 1960 or later, full retirement age right now is 67. But that being said, you can claim as early as 62. Everybody right now can claim as early as 62, unless there's, as long as there's no other extenuating circumstances like a spouse passing away or, disabled children, or you yourself are disabled. But 62 is going to be that normal age. But understand that if you do, those benefits could be reduced by up to 30%. Right. So that's a big reduction, and that's a permanent reduction. Yeah, you'll still get the cost of living adjustments like everybody else with Social Security, but it will be permanently reduced. And so that's if you claim early. If you claim later, number 2 here is waiting to receive Social Security beyond your full retirement age or your PIA, primary insurance amount, right? Could actually increase that benefit to 8% per year. So if you were supposed to get about $36,000 at your full retirement age, then your starting benefits are going to be at 70, about $49,000 if you waited. And so in today's markets, an automatic 8% increase is going to be really, let's just say it's going to be really tough to find. And that's an increase on the income, not on the asset level, on the income. So that's a really good deal. And if you can do it, if you have longevity and all like that, and you've got decent assets and you can wait it out, that is definitely a good choice. The number 3 is the lower earning spouse can actually claim based on the higher earning spouse's Social Security record. And so the lower earner must be at least 62 and the higher earner must already be receiving benefits in order to do this. Also, you have to be married for at least a year. So there's a lot of contingencies with this. It used to be to where the lower earning spouse could claim based off of the higher earning spouse, not affect their own and let their own defer or grow all the way till 70, get all those delayed retirement credits, and then they could switch to their own if it was going to be higher. Well, they took that away if you're past a certain age. They grandfathered some people in, but if you're too young to be able to do that now, you can no longer do that. You can no longer claim a spousal record and then switch to your own benefit later. Right now, if you claim a spousal benefit, they deem you to have filed for both your own and both for the spouse, right? And you will only get whatever is the highest. So if your actual benefit is less than what the spousal benefit is, the first part comes from your benefit and the remainder is going to be mixed up between, it's going to be yours, it's going to be the spousal benefit. But if yours is greater, you're not going to get a spousal benefit. I hope that makes sense. So there's no additional spousal benefit beyond full retirement age either. So if the spouse waits till 70 to claim, the spousal benefit's not getting any increases. Could be up to 50% of what the higher spouse's income or what the higher spouse's Social Security could be, but it doesn't get any delayed retirement credit. So full retirement age, that whatever that number is, it's up to 50% of that number. So in my previous example of 36,000 and 49,000, it would only be half of the 36, not half of the 49. Number 4, divorced spouses can claim on their ex's Social Security. So if they were married for at least 10 years, and they haven't remarried, then they can actually claim, they can basically do what I just talked about, that spousal record, but they can do it on an ex-spouse. It doesn't matter if your ex-spouse is remarried, as long as you haven't remarried, you can actually claim a spousal record on an ex-spouse. And also if you have multiple ex-spouses, if you were married to each one of them, let's say 2 of them, if you're married to each one of them for at least 10 years, well, you can choose whichever one of them is higher. So that's another thing. And also, if both the current and ex-spouse pass away, the survivor can claim the benefit that would be higher as well. So might be a good reason to keep in contact with your ex-spouses, just because you can find out which one might be more. So also, Social Security benefits are taxed over a certain level. So that, I think a lot of people have known that for quite a while. Once you hit certain income levels, your Social Security is going to be taxed. What many people don't realize is that if Social Security is your only income in retirement, you won't be taxed on it. It's just all those other income streams that can pull Social Security in and start to become taxable once it hits certain income levels. And so that's if you get more than like $25,000, or 30 if you're single, and $32,000 if you're married filing joint, then some of your Social Security will start to become taxable. And now that's not total income, that's your provisional income. Provisional income is a little bit different. Take half your Social Security and add in almost everything else, right? Short of Roth distributions or loan provisions from cash value life insurance. Those don't increase the cost or don't increase the amount of tax you pay on Social Security, but about everything else does. Ordinary income, job income, IRA income, pension income, even non-taxable interest from like municipal bonds increases the amount of tax you pay on Social Security, as well as any capital gains. And so once you hit, half your Social Security plus all that other stuff, once you hit $25,000, your Social Security is going to start becoming taxable if you're single and $32,000 if you're married. So Also, 12 states still tax Social Security benefits. And unfortunately, for those of my listeners that happen to be in Kansas, the state that I'm also in, we are one of them. Yes, it's right now, it's Colorado, Connecticut, Kansas, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Mexico, Rhode Island, Utah, Vermont, and West Virginia. So if you're listening to this and you're one of those states, I guess congratulations, but not congratulations. You're going to have to pay state tax on your Social Security. If you live in any other state that was not mentioned, you do not have to pay state tax on your Social Security income. Here's a big one, guys. Social Security will continue even if the trust fund goes bust, right? So I know so many people are like, when should I claim Social Security? Because I hear it's not going to be there in the future. It's going to be there. If you've read that, statement that comes on your Social Security statements where it says how Social Security trust fund is going to be gone by, whatever year that they put on. That year has changed almost every single year they've run those estimations. According to the article that I'm reading, it says it's going to happen in 2033. Last time I read something, I think it was 2034. So I guess it depends on who does the calculations as well. But even if that does happen, so let's say the trust fund completely is drained, right? And most experts believe that Congress will step up eventually. I mean, they did actually step up. This is not the first time this has happened. This happened back in the 80s. And that's actually when they changed the fact that Social Security could be taxed, because before that, it was not taxed. After that, it was, and all of the tax from that went right back into the kitty. And that kind of, kicked the can down about another 50 years or so. And so I think what's going to happen is Congress is going to wait until the 11th hour. Again, this is my own opinion. And then they're going to finally do something to change it. And that's probably going to kick the can down another 50 years. But instead, we've known about this for years and still no huge changes have come about yet. So I think that's what's going to happen. Let's just wait till the 11th hour again. Then when we finally have to do something about it, they finally will do something about it, but it should be done a little sooner than that. But even if it does go bust, right, the program will still be able to pay about 75% of the scheduled benefits because there's enough people still working to pay into the system that will still be able to have some Social Security. It's just, according to this, worst case scenario is if you're currently getting Social Security, you might have to take a pay cut. That's really what that means, right? So it's not going away. It would just be a pay cut. But, and also opinion again, when they do make those changes, most likely there's going to be a lot of grandfathering, just like there have been every single time one of these changes have been made. And it's most likely going to affect those of us that are younger, not those of us that are, or those of the people that are actually claiming at that time. Is probably going to be the younger generation. So probably myself, I'm 42 at the time we're recording this. And then anybody younger than us, probably that's what's going to happen. Because you know what? It's not really affecting us at this point. Most of us aren't really expecting to get much of it anyway, because of the, misinformation that's been touted out there. And so, we're kind of expecting it. So I would much rather expect, not rather, but I would expect that the congressman, the lawmakers would much rather affect people that aren't currently affected by it, right? They're going to change the laws on the people that it doesn't affect right now. That way we have a lot more time to plan for it, and then it's okay, rather than affecting people that are currently relying on that for income, especially where that's their only income. They're not going to touch those, in my opinion, because I've seen it happen in the past. So that's it. Also, a widow or widower will automatically receive their dead spouse's full benefit if that benefit is higher than their own. And so that happens once the death certificate is filed, and typically by the funeral home. But you also got to make sure that the client realizes they cannot claim survivor benefits until they are 60, which could be an issue because I've done a few speeches before, or I guess I've done a few events where I've talked about women and retirement. And there's a statistic that says that the average age of widowhood in America is 59. And so if you're 59, when your spouse passes away, you actually can't get any spousal benefits or any survivor benefits until you're 60. And so what happens if you're 55 or 56 when your spouse passes away? Well, you got to wait until 60. So there could be a gap in time there where you're getting no survivor benefits whatsoever. So you need to know that if you're a widow or a widower, it'll be 60 before you can receive any of that. There's a few extenuating circumstances with that as well. Like if you're taking care of a disabled child, or maybe you yourself are disabled, then there's some issues, or you could get a little bit sooner. But in most cases, you got to wait until 60. Number 9, waiting until 70 to collect benefits is great, but don't wait any longer, because it's not going to increase any longer than that. And even if a client decides to keep working, it's a big financial mistake to wait until after 70, because you're leaving money on the table. Once a retiree reaches full retirement age, Social Security can have the ability to actually pay 6 months back pay at the retiree's request. But what that does is that basically starts their benefit 6 months earlier. And every month that you delay taking your Social Security amount will slightly increase, right? And so if you decide at full retirement age, I think I want to take my benefit, but pay me 6 months right away, that's actually as if you were claiming, so let's say your full retirement age is 67 and you claimed at 67, but you wanted that 6 month back pay. Well, then that's actually as if you claimed at 66 and a half rather than 67. You'll get the 66 and a half number for the rest of your life, plus that little bump. That's really what you're going to get. And so if you get maybe 6 months past 70, they can back pay those 6 months without any kind of an issue, I guess. So that could be an option, but don't wait until 72, because then you can only go back 6 months. So basically now you missed out on a year and a half of claiming, and that you're not ever going to get back. So you might as well just wait. Don't go any farther past 70. Start claiming it right away. And finally, number 10, gender does not matter with married spouses and Social Security claiming. The agency just sees couples as either legally married or not legally married. It doesn't matter if they're man and wife, if they're wife and wife, if they're man and man, it does not matter, right? And so the agency, like I said, just sees couples as legally married or not legally married. And that could become an issue for those that are together but not married, because you're not going to get a survivor benefit. Right? So if your other spouse passes away, if their benefit was bigger, but you're not legally married, then you're still stuck with your smaller amount. So that could be one of the reasons to possibly get married. I'm not trying to marry everybody off here, right? Obviously do it for the right reasons. But that is one of the benefits of being married if you're not, and you're part of a couple. So those are the 10. Let me know what you thought of those. If there's any that you would like to know a little bit more about. I know I've done several episodes on different, very nuanced ways of claiming Social Security, and some of the stuff that you can do that's pretty creative. And we're actually seeing a little bit more of now that COVID happened, and there were a lot of people that either got fired and decided they were going to stay fired and retire, right? Or those that decided, you know what, I think I'm going to retire because I don't like what's going on with the work, whatever that is. We had a lot more people that were deciding to take retirement. But then after COVID was done, they're like, you know what, I think I actually want to go back to work, but they started claiming Social Security. So now they feel like, oh, I can't do it. I don't have a do-over. I'm past my year. So we've gone through several of those. Check out some of the past episodes. Maybe I'll have Josh link to one of those, the obscure Social Security claiming episodes, in the description if you're watching this on YouTube, and the show notes if you're listening to it on your podcast app. So guys, that is it. Hopefully that helped with some of those decisions. And again, if you ever want any more insight, or you want to work your Social Security claiming strategy into your entire overall income and investment and retirement strategy, get a hold of us. We'd love to have a conversation with you about that. We do that all the time. And so once again, our link to our 15-minute phone call is going to be in the show notes, the description. Go ahead and click on that, get some time on our calendar, and we can help answer that question for you. So that's it, guys. Take care, and we'll see you here in another week.